I'm white, but I was a minority once. For 2 months, I lived in a black neighborhood, and I stuck out. Sometimes people would stop me on the street and say, "Are you lost?" The thing is, it's a little uncomfortable for people to hear about the whole experience because it wasn't just a black neighborhood. It was also a poor neighborhood. I worked at a homeless shelter for women and children. Don't think I wasn't aware of how aesthetically wrong this situation was. A young white girl with the power over 6 older black women? That just screams racially entrenched power structure. I was never unaware of this, that I, this 19-year-old white girl, held the keys. Literally, I wore a set of keys around my neck that locked all of the doors to keep the women of the shelter out of the different rooms. So if one of the ladies wanted to take a smoke break, she had to find me to let her outside. I was the one who said, "Good night, ladies," and turned the lights out for bedtime, and then said, "Rise and shine," after shocking them awake with the bright lights at 6 a.m. I was the one who returned their confiscated phones and alarm clocks and electric razors. I wished that I was black or any color, just so that I wouldn't be white and in charge. Don't get me wrong, I'm not ashamed of being white, and the ladies and I got along really well, but I was almost always aware of my race. So, what I did to compensate was to posture myself as this little white girl who didn't know anything. I deferred to those ladies on everything. I weakened myself, my voice, my assertiveness. I pretended I didn't know a clue about my future, so the ladies could give me advice. I pretended I didn't know a thing about boys. I talked in this high-pitched, sweet Catholic schoolgirl voice. I felt like if I had to be aware of my race, if I had to play the role of a white person instead of just being me, then I wanted to pick the most harmless white persona possible. And the thing is, if you looked at me, you would never guess that I was a minority once. I am white, and most people just assume that that means I've always been in the majority. For the most part, that's true. But for 2 months, I was a minority. And after that, how could I ever forget what it feels like to be the only one that looks like me? But it's an experience I can't really talk about. It's something I can't really explain to my minority friends, because then I'd have to explain that I was the white girl who held the keys.